What's going on, people? Welcome back. OnlyFacts Sports, episode 34. We are doing this internationally. I should really be on that side of the on this side of the screen. Do you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. Do you know what I'm
Why should
saying?
we be on that side of the screen?
Because I'm the host, in it. People read left to right, so the host is normally on the left.
Yeah, fair enough.
No, do you know what I'm
I,
saying?
I,
Man,
I
just want
mean,
to cause conflict for no reason.
when
Let's
sometimes the host
go
is
on.
in the middle. There's no middle.
Well, exactly. As you can see, we're doing this a little bit differently this week. We are doing this virtually, which I don't really like to do, but it is what it is. Why are we doing this virtually, Shane? Let the people know.
Yeah, I'm currently not in the UK, but under previous circumstances, we would have just not done a live this week or not done a show this week. But due to the recent support that we've been given, we didn't really want to give up the momentum that we had. So because you man have
True,
been
we could have
support.
got away with not doing the show because we got so many lives. We had the Arsenal live yesterday. I'm live 4 times on Saturday. Four. How long have you? Can I swear? How long have we been into this? But four Bamba, you know the rest shows on Saturday, blood. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna literally. I don't know what I'm gonna do, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Big man thing. I need. You know what I mean? I need a back rub and an early night and a
I'm
scented
gonna see if I
candle on a
can
Friday
jump on
night,
one of
blood.
the. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna jump on the lives with you, like especially the live.
Bro, jump on live whenever you've got time because I'm gonna be live all day. So it don't matter.
The Roach Cruise works with my time frame. So the Roach Cruise I should be able to jump on live for.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you exactly where in the world I am, but obviously through the conversation you'll end up finding out where in the world I am still.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, I said it already on the football live, so
Oh,
I
fair
didn't
enough.
know it was a
Yeah,
secret.
nice. I'm in Mexico at the moment still.
Fair enough, fair enough. How is it over there?
Mexico is hot, bro. It's good not to be in in the cold, bro. It's good not to be in the cold, bro.
Yeah,
Freezing
man,
out
it's
there.
not, it's
Freezing
not,
out there.
it's not nice over here. It's not
Um,
nice over here.
but in terms of Mexico, yeah, man, it's a country that similar to Yard, in it, but obviously it's quite difficult because I'm not I'm not fluent in other languages, so this
Yeah.
is a mainly Spanish speaking country, so it's quite
Do you not speak any Spanish? Yeah, not
none.
gonna, not no Duolingo, no nothing.
None, bro. Even when I was in school, studied German. We didn't even study Spanish.
Oh, fair enough. All right. Well, let's get into it because a lot has happened this week. There's actually a lot of drama. Boxing this week, yeah, has turned into
Yeah,
a reality
sometimes we're
TV show.
struggling for topics. This week we kind of had to reduce some of the topics we're going to talk about.
Yes, certain people are not getting spoken about, and there's another one. I was just hearing that Ben Whitaker's been ordered to fight Josh Buatsi.
Yeah,
That's not
so
on the list, but if we've got time, we'll touch on that as well. But I guess the first one, and we're just starting with this because I guess these are two of the top names in boxing facing off against each other. There are other things happening with other big names in boxing, but it's like it's them one. Whereas this is really one of the marquee
and
fights we want to see
truthfully,
in boxing.
most of the other topics aren't around things inside the ring. This is something inside the ring, and
But
me and Nick probably have held off on this topic for about, I want to say, the best part of a month, because we just couldn't trust Shakur nor Lopez. Like, genuinely, until we saw the fight was signed, sealed, and delivered, it was just one of those ones where I'm like, I just couldn't. Because the fight's such a great fight. And obviously we spoke about it on Rant's channel as well. But because the fight's such a great fight, I didn't want to get myself excited for something that wasn't going to happen. It's like me getting myself excited to link Shensia, and then Shensia tells me that I can't pull up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just didn't want to get myself
well, you
excited.
ain't you ain't you ain't far from her right now, blood. She's down the road.
Facts. But
But
yeah,
yeah, what one thing I will say about these two, is once the fight is signed, I know it's happening. It's not like a Tank situation where man could
yeah.
sign the fight and do the face off, and I still telling man it's not going to happen. This fight is happening. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's a good point, because I was gonna ask you about that, because my issue with both Shakur and Teo is at the negotiating table. This
Yeah,
fight took so long to be announced. So that told me that both of these guys took the flipping piss at the negotiating table. Once you got over that hurdle, neither guy has history of pulling out of fights. It's normally they overplay their hand, or they overplay their hand. So or they just do stupid shit. So it's good to actually see that. Yeah, it's good to see. It's really good to see that this fight's happening. And this is a fight where I can actually say we've got two A-class fighters in their prime. You know, Teofimo Lopez is Ring Magazine 140 champion. You know, he's WBO 140 champion. He's been the lineal champion at 140 and 135. He's going there with all the size advantage and the ability at 140 and the resume at 140 and 135 versus Shakur, who's arguably one of the most skilled fighters. And they're both in their prime. We're not talking about guys who are past it. Both of these fighters are in their prime. So these are the fights that I hope encourage more fights like this, because we're looking at two A-class fighters.
And the fight is set to be in New York. And I think that when you spoke about the negotiating table and how long it took, in my opinion, a lot of that is going to be them talking to Turkey and them probably colluding because neither of them have any personal love for Turkey. I think there was a
Facts.
little bit of
That's a good
collusion
point.
behind the scenes of, listen, let's milk this brother for as much money as possible. Ricky messaged me earlier saying, what do I think about the Saudis running out of money? And that's one of the topics that had to get dropped because we can't even won't go into it. But I said it's not a running out of money thing. It's just realizing that boxing is not giving them whatever it is that they're
Yeah,
expected to
yeah,
give
yeah.
them. None of
Facts. But boxing is a cutthroat business. So as we've seen with the likes of what happened with Eddie Hearn and what's happening with Eddie Hearn and Bill Haney and all of that, you it's the same thing, and you brought up a good point with when it comes to Teo and Shakur. These man know Turkey's got it, and whether he don't have it or not, we know what you've paid certain fighters. So we know you want a certain, like they've both come out publicly and disrespected Turkey. Turkey's gone to them and made a fight. Do you know what I'm saying? They ain't gone to Turkey to
100%.
make a fight. So that tells you
100%.
that even when I violate you, you still have to pay me. This is what people don't understand about UFC and boxing. The fighters will always win because we support the fighters. We
This
support the
this is
fighters,
what this
bro.
is what I said. This is what I said to Ricky. I said the biggest difference, and I don't want to go off on a tangent, but the biggest difference in boxing and UFC, when Conor McGregor's fighting or Khabib's fighting, the UFC is the star of the show. Dana White is the star of the show. You could take a fight off the UFC and the card could probably still go ahead. Do you know what I'm saying? You cancel the headline fight, like
The fight's
especially if
done.
you're not fighting in Vegas, if you're not fighting in Vegas or MSG, if you're Boots and you're fighting in Philly, Boots is putting on this show. Boots is making sure they're serving cheesesteaks. Boots is making sure it feels like a fit. Boots is making sure, or someone in his team is making sure they got a Philly DJ. They're playing Philly rappers. It's a Philly show. You don't have any of that control when you go into the UFC. Dana White is playing whatever music he wants to play. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas when you go into a boxing event, if it's in London or if it's here, it will feel very different.
Right, it's the
Going
same
to
thing what you
say,
see with the Mexicans as well. When he got the Mexicans,
yes,
you feel like whether if it's Cinco de Mayo, you know it's Cinco de Mayo, bro. You know you're in
100%. You go
Guadalajara
to a
or
boxing, you go to a boxing event in Jamaica or anywhere in the Caribbean, it's gonna feel Caribbean. It's not gonna feel like you're not gonna be hearing Sweet Caroline because that's not the vibe. It's a different
that's
thing. And
fact.
in UFC, it's a very standardized format. Whoever happens to be fighting is fighting, but it's standardized, and they don't have any of that type of control. These guys will want to be maximizing the money. And like I said, that for me, Turkey ain't done anything for me. If Turkey were to leave boxing tomorrow, we're not seeing any apart from Bivol Beterbiev, we've not seen any fights that we wouldn't have otherwise seen. We're seeing
Or
fighters
that we
get paid
didn't ask
money
for. Because Canelo and Crawford probably wouldn't have happened, but we didn't really ask for that. Credit to
yeah
Crawford. He became undisputed.
of fights that we actually want to see, of the fights we actually want to see 100%. How do you think this goes down?
This is that. I'm so glad you said that because it's been a while since we normally break down fights live on the actual fight itself, but we haven't really had enough fights where it's been close enough where we have to go into the technicals of it. This fight is interesting for me. Very, very interesting. Because, like I said to Rants, Teo has this stat one. Shakara is almost perfect. The reason why I say almost perfect is because we haven't actually seen Shakur have any struggles. Granted, his level of opposition hasn't been like Teo or Devin, who's fought like the Lomachenkos, Josh Taylor. You know what I'm saying? That high A level fight. He hasn't fought that. But we don't know the blueprint to beat Shakur Stevenson. We know the blueprint to beat Teo. And just off that alone, I'm naturally inclined to go with Shakur Stevenson.
Can I ask a
But
question?
go on.
What's the blueprint to beat Tio?
You have to. Teo has to beat himself. So part of that, you're going to need assistance from Teo. So
This is the
if you
thing. This is the thing. This was going to be my natural follow up question. What is the blueprint to beat Tio, and can Shakur actually do that? Because as great and perfect as Shakur is, he very much does one thing extremely well.
facts, no,
Whereas I feel like Teofimo Lopez, when he's at his best, is a much more well
dynamic.
rounded
Yeah,
fighter, in my opinion.
I agree with that. But the issue is, we've seen fighters who've been extremely negative against Teo, and then Teo then overcommits over. When he fought Kambosos, he was overcommitting on punches because Kambosos was so negative, and then he was getting caught with counters. Shakur Stevenson can do the same thing. The issue is, this fight's at 40. I don't think, and I've said this publicly, I don't think Shakur was big at 130. He moved to 135. He definitely ain't big. Like Keyshawn is a big 135. Devin was a big 135. Crawford was a big 135. He isn't a big 135. He's now moving to 40. So for me, there's now a size disparity that you're giving up. Cool, you do have the skills advantage, but if Teo doesn't fight, if Teo decides to say, you know what, I'm not going to fight aggressive and I'm not going to overcommit, because the truth is, if you fight aggressive against Shakur, he'll just pick you off because he's so good defensively. But if you force Shakur to be attacking, almost like if Arsenal was to verse Burnley.
This is why those 2 points you just made are why Shakur has his management and his team has always created a storyline and a narrative for Tank. One, the size. Two, Tank has to fight coming forwards. And so the fact that we're kind of the same size, we're both naturally smaller guys, and I can box off the back foot perfectly, that's perfect. But that's why, not that, I'm not gonna say like he's not scared to fight anyone. None of these guys are scared, but that's why the narrative wasn't there for him and Devin. The narrative
Facts.
wasn't there for him and Keyshawn, because they're naturally bigger guys and they can switch it up. Do you know what I mean?
It,
They could. Devin, we've seen Devin stink the gaff out, get
it,
wins, but
that,
stink out the
that,
gaff.
that, 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 that's, that is such a good point. And that goes to my keys to victory, because I feel like I always said when Shakur and Devin was at 135, I said Shakur will beat Devin, because at that time Devin was having an identity crisis where he was trying to be aggressive when he actually was a defensive fighter. Obviously, we saw what happened against Ryan, but since that Ryan fight, he's been naturally negative. If you were to ask me to put my hand on heart and say, if we got two negative fighters, the winner of that fight is the person who sticks to their game plan. The one who overcommits and tries to be aggressive loses. Now, for me, before I used to say that was Devin. Now I'm saying that Shakur. Because of what happened to Devin, Devin ain't going to be aggressive against anyone. But against Teo will be aggressive. But if I'm advising Teo in this fight, I'm forcing Shakur to fight a fight that he don't want to fight. You have to fight
That's
me
the
as.
thing.
Go on.
That's the thing, because like you say, not only is it that we haven't seen Shakur lose, but we still have a lot of unanswered questions about Shakur. Do you know what I'm saying? We don't know what your chin is like. We don't
Facts.
even know what your chin was like at 130, really. Then you've walked straight through 135. Now you're going straight up to 140. You're fighting someone that, Tio wasn't a massive 135, but like, he makes 140 pretty comfortably. Like I
Facts.
say, he's got a very, very deep bag of tricks. And
Facts.
so, as good as Shakur is defensively, there's still so many questions that we just don't really
The,
have
the,
answers.
the,
This fight is going to answer a lot of questions.
this is why I feel like Shakur. I think I'm gonna get my prediction out straight away. I think Shakur wins, but this is why I think Shakur's in a bit of an issue. Because if I was coaching Teo wins this fight, and I'll tell you why. But if Shakur knows that if you move against Teo, you have success. We saw that with Martin, we saw that with Cambosis. You move and be negative, you have success. However, if Teo decides to move, Teo's gonna win rounds that Shakur ain't gonna win. Because Teo does the fury shit. That sticking tongues out, arms behind your back. If we both ain't
Showboating. Yeah.
punching, I'm going to win the round. And if I'm Teo, I'm gonna fight that style. I'm gonna fight the style where we both ain't gonna throw shit, but I'm gonna win because I'm gonna win based off bravado. Shakur don't fight
Do you
bravado.
think? Do you think that's even more? Do you think that's even more the case? If I know they're both from the East Coast, but if this is in MSG, where you're not necessarily pulling just a pure boxing audience, but you're pulling a casual audience as well, then Tio has the ability to land the more eye-catching punches, and then the eye-catching punches as well as the showboating can get the crowd going. And whether we like it or not, the crowd gas and hype can very much influence judges.
Facts. This fight for me might be if because as a pure boxer, Teo makes way too much offensive mistakes. When he goes aggressive, he makes offensive mistakes that you can pick off. But when he's just boxing, he's actually a really good boxer. Like he's a really good boxer. But Shakur requires a fighter like a Zapata, like we saw, or Oscar Valdez. These Mexican guys that just walk forward with no regard, and Shakur can just pick them off. Teo ain't gonna be like that. Now, Teo can be like that
Yeah,
sometimes when he gets like under the lights. And I think it could work both ways. Teo can see the crowd and think, you know what, I have to put on a show. And that's when Shakur wins the fight. Shakur ain't thinking he's got to put on a show. If the fight's a stinker, Teo wins. But Teo only wins if he's happy if he stays the fight. It's a stinker. Like if he's happy to
that's
keep the
that's why I'm finding it so difficult to make a prediction, because it's a very much a what Tio will be getting.
yeah, because
I feel like
mentally
the
he's weaker
best
than Shakur.
Tio at 140, the best Tio at 140, especially if it was 147, different conversation. But I think the best version of Tio at 140 beats Shakur. But I don't know, but only the very, very, very best version. If they fight 10 times, I think he loses 8 or 9 times. But the best version can do it. It's not out of the question for him to do it. And then, like I say, we don't know. Shakur, as much as the big fights he's had, this is the biggest fight he's had. Do you know what I mean? He
He
hasn't
hasn't
really
had it
been
for
under the
me. For
lights
me,
in
he
this
still hasn't
in
had a
this
big
level
fight.
of fight.
For me, he still hasn't had a big fight. For me, like Oscar
Yeah,
Valdez, even though that was a unification at 130, it wasn't a big fight. This is a big fight. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about a
yeah.
guy where you could genuinely lose against. And I'm like, you know what
He's only
scares me?
how many times has he headlined in his career?
Oscar Valdez, Jamal
And
Herring,
Josh Padley.
no, Padley, he was on the undercard.
Okay.
Conceição, he maybe about 4 times, 4 or 5 times.
And they were all not all smaller venues, but they wouldn't have
Yeah,
been.
all
None of those
smaller
of this
venues,
level of
all
fight
where
is what I'm
he's
trying to
the
say.
A side. All the smaller venues, all where he's the A side. Yeah.
Yeah,
But this is the thing. He's jumped to 140 chasing a big fight. Do you get what I'm saying? He's jumped to 140 to chase a big fight. He didn't outgrow 35.
yeah,
He's chasing a big fight.
yeah,
When fighters do that, it's the Andrade syndrome, Nick. You know, where you're like, you can't get a big
yeah,
fight at your weight class. So you know what? Let me fight Benavidez because I have no other big fight to take. Do you get what I'm saying?
yeah,
Skill wise, he
yeah,
might be a better fighter, but at the end of the day, at some stage, that size is gonna. Do you know what I'm saying? And you always allude to this. It comes down to management and mismanagement. He hasn't had, regardless if he wins and beats Teo or loses against Teo, he hasn't had the best guidance and movement throughout his career. There's no way you're 28, 29 with that level of skill, being a Olympian, finished Olympian silver medalist, and you are still struggling to get big fights. You were the one who
yeah,
signed the big promotional deal from your pro debut. You've been on the
yeah.
ESPN your whole career. You've never not had a big promotional push. You know what I'm saying?
You are arguably the best of your class. That's
Facts.
you, Devin, Tank, Tio. We can throw other
Ryan,
names in there, Keyshawn, Ryan, but you are probably the lowest or the second lowest in terms of viewership and fan base.
facts.
I think
That's a
Keyshawn, yeah, it's between you and Keyshawn down there, but Ryan's bigger, Tio's bigger, Tank is bigger, Devin's bigger. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and these man, have the resumes to justify that, as well as the audience. You know what I'm saying? This is why you're still chasing these man, because
Facts.
you have
That's my
to, you
point.
know.
When you trade, this is the thing. He's in a position where he's chasing Teofimo Lopez, and it might be a case where it manifests in the fight as well, where you have to put on a good fight because you're the one who turned down the Devin fight. You're
Is
the
it a
one.
question of that gym? Because the gym he's in, and I know they're not all managed by the same people, but the gym he's in has insanely talented fighters, and none of them get that no credit. What's happening in that gym?
What do you mean? You mean in terms of Raymond Ford, Raymond Ford,
Was
Keyshawn
he in the same?
Davis,
Keyshawn Davis, him, Raymond Ford. Yep.
Shakur Stevenson, yeah.
None of them really have
Yeah, yeah.
done what we think that their talent should have done, and the talent is there. No one's questioning the talent, but I don't know what it is in, if there's a mindset in that gym of, I don't know, are they almost too fundamental? They're almost so fundamentally sound. They don't do the business game side of it.
I
Maybe
think
I don't
with
know.
Shakur, he's personally suffered from the fact that there's a lot of rants in the world where he's been given credit without proving it. At no stage has anyone ever doubted Shakur. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
People doubt Tank. People doubt you could. People doubt Devin. People doubt Ryan. They might have bigger fan bases, but it's the fact that they have the unknown and the in like no one's ever doubted Shakur. Shakur's always been the guy. Oh yeah, he's super fundamental, but because he's super fundamental, he hasn't had those really big acid tests.
yeah,
And for me, that acid test would have come against Devin. He didn't take that fight for whatever reason. It would have come against Tank. That's not his fault. Tank didn't take the fight. Tank is whatever Tank is. But it's now going to come against Teal. The issue is I think Shakur's taking a big risk for a big reward. But it's also, if he loses, he's 3, 4, 5 years behind the line. You know what I'm saying? Because now people didn't even want.
he's in a, because his fan base is the biggest. He's in a position where one loss can derail his career, whereas
Facts.
Teofimo's
People
fan
even
base
say.
would not let one loss derail his career. Devin's fan base would not let one loss derail his career. Garcia's fan base will not
Yeah,
allow that.
facts.
Tank's fan base, none of that could happen to them because they're too
And
commercial.
Shakur's problem is people don't have a strong feeling about Shakur. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they hate Devin and Bill. They love Ryan. Do you know what I'm saying? You have a love or hate Tank. They don't love or hate Shakur. So you know what I'm saying? He's just a plain sandwich.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Where I'm like, if you lose, people are already saying, why do I fight you anyway? If you
yeah,
now lose this fight, it's like there's no point. If Teo loses this fight, he's a good name to have on people's resume.
yeah.
You can still see him getting big fights. I can't see that for Shakur.
Yeah, and all of this comes from Shakur not taking the big fights when the opportunity came. Because at the end of the day, no matter what happens, you beat Devin, you beat the guy that beat Loma, you beat these other guys, you beat guys who have beat guys, but you're just the guy who's talented and technical, but you ain't even beat anyone. You're not even the scalp. You might be too big a risk for the reward that you
That's
get
my
me. So
point. That's my
what's
point.
the point? Do you know what
Everybody
I mean?
acknowledges it's a big reward. And I heard Eddie Hearn talking about Shakur Stevenson versus Conor Benn. He knows within his heart that he's not gonna put Shakur Stevenson in there with Conor Benn. Because he knows he even said Shakur Stevenson's more skilled than Conor Benn. But
Of
there's
course.
no reward for it. There's
Yeah.
no reward for that fight. There's no
Yeah.
reward for that fight. I'd rather Conor Benn lose to Ryan than lose to Shakur.
Well, you mentioned the boy's name. We might as well talk about him next. We were going to talk about something else, but we might as well talk about him next. Conor Benn moved into, world title contention. Is it WBC again?
Yeah, bro. What the
Of course.
WBC are doing? They done a WBC convention this week, and fam, it this is the most disgusting thing I've seen, but I'm not surprised by it
Of
because
course.
the same belt that he's number one contender for was the same belt that they made Manny Pacquiao after 3 years and being 45 years old fight for the same belt, bro. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, for me, people, and this is the first time you're ever gonna hear me say this, ever. I'm
Yeah.
actually gonna say this. I don't. People are criticizing Conor Benn because they hate Conor Benn, but the truth is, what's happening to Conor Benn? People should have been complaining about that for Ryan. Ryan's about to fight Barrios. He's coming off a defeat against Rowley. How did that fight happen? Pacquiao got the fight against Barrios. He's
Yeah,
coming off a defeat against flipping Ugas. So
yeah.
how are you? There's two fighters that are coming off a defeat and they got a world title fight. So at the end of the day, this is what the WBC do. So Conor Benn getting a world title fight against the winner of Barrios versus Ryan Garcia and him being number one contender. Why are we surprised? Why
By
are
the
we
time
surprised?
for anyone who doesn't know, Conor Benn last fought. This is for 147. Yeah,
Yeah.
Conor Benn last fought at 147 on the 16th of April 2022. If when are Ryan and Barrios fighting?
Next February or March.
Very much. By the time the fight comes around for Conor Benn, or even by the time the Barrios and Ryan Garcia fight happens, it would have been 4 years since Conor Benn fought at 147. So how can he be the number one contender? Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't
And
know.
it's not like he's gone up and achieved great things. This is not Usyk being the number one contender for a cruiserweight belt who's gone up to heavyweight and achieved incredible things. This is not, you know,
Crawford.
uh, Crawford be a number one. What is this? What is any of this? Do you know what I mean? Like,
It-
he's fought the Chris Eubank twice, and before that he fought Pete Dobson. Who is Pete Dobson? And Rodolfo Orozco. Okay,
I don't even know who
Orozco.
that. I don't even know who that guy is.
Who are these people? And after that, all they were, two of them were at 154, two of them were at 160, and now he's number one contender for a belt at 147. But based on what? What is that based on? And if you're one of the other 147 guys in the division, how do you feel? You might feel okay if you are in a promotional company where you feel like you can get that fight with Ben after he wins, because you feel like that's probably quite an easy champion to get the belt
No,
off. But other than that, if you're somebody that's just been
yeah,
leapfrogged
like,
and
like,
you're not
like
in favor,
this is what for me. The person who again he's gonna always he's gonna always get corn for me is Eddie Hearn, because I'll be honest, bro, and I swear on my life, I genuinely believe Eddie Hearn Conor Benn isn't even Eddie Hearn's best welterweight. I'll make the argument he ain't even in Conor. He ain't even the top three welterweight. I would put Crocker, Giasov, and Jack Catterall over Conor Benn. So how he's Crocker's already got a world title, but how he's leapfrogged Giasov and Jack Catterall for a world title
yeah,
is beyond me, bro. It's beyond me. That for me doesn't make sense. You know, in certain divisions where you don't have guys who are actually competing and win and doing stuff at the division.
yeah.
There's guys in that division that's actually putting in the work, and they're just getting leapfrogged.
I'm on boxingscene.com. Conor Benn still ranked 4, but Manny Pacquiao still ranked number 1. So this is obviously out of date. It's obviously old. But between when this ranking was done, Jack Catterall was 4, and won, and at 147 with Boots. And Conor Benn has fought at 160 with Eubank, and Conor Benn is above Jack Catterall. How's this happened?
This is my point. I genuinely don't understand. I don't know and I think me and you were live for Giasov's last fight. That was on the Stanionis card as well. So the Boots versus Stanionis, we were live for that fight. So
Yeah.
there's guys that we can genuinely say that deserve to be higher ranked. But why are we surprised? It's about money, right? It's
Rolly
about
Romero
money.
should be higher ranked. Yeah,
Roddy's got
right.
a belt. Roddy's got a belt. Roddy's WBA champion.
But even still, it's like, do you know what I mean, this guy? There's guys that have actually beat Ryan Garcia at 147, and then Connor's ranked higher than these guys to fight for a belt that Ryan Garcia could potentially hold.
Yeah, it is scandalous, bro. It is scandalous. It is scandalous. And for me, I don't. The thing is, I'm not even hating on Conor Benn. The Conor Benn. This is why it's so interesting, because Eddie Hearn even acknowledged that he was surprised when Conor Benn was like put in as number one contender. He was even surprised because he's surprised because he knows that Conor Benn doesn't deserve it. You haven't done anything at 147.
Yeah,
But why it's even more interesting is because he doesn't have to be number one contender for that fight to take place. But the reason why they've done that is by installing him as number one contender and potentially mandatory for that fight,
yeah,
they then guarantee Conor Benn fighting for that fight and then guarantee the sanctioning fees. There was speculation of Conor Benn fighting Crocker, But because Crocker's with the IBF, they're like, you know what? If we put Conor Benn higher up the rankings, Conor Benn don't have to go through the IBF route. And the
Yeah,
reason why that's beneficial for Conor Benn, for those who don't know, is if you go through the IBF route, you have to do the £10 rehydration clause that Conor Benn doesn't want to do the next day. Whereas the WBC don't have that rehydration clause. So for me, this is perfectly orchestrated by Team Conor Benn and the WBC, because the WBC will do whatever it takes to make them make money. We'll get onto the WBC in a second,
yeah.
but they will do whatever it takes to make them make money. That's why Ryan Garcia is coming off a loss. Ryan Garcia has never won a fight at 147 pounds. He's about to fight for his second consecutive world title.
That's crazy. That is insane. When you put it like that, that's actually insane.
Conor Benn has not won a has not won a fight
Right, at
at
147 for 4 years,
147 for 4 years.
and Ryan Garcia has never won at
Never,
147,
never won a fight at 147.
and
So
they're gonna fight for a belt.
potential. Well, I presume so because I picked Ryan Garcia to beat Barrios.
And obviously, it works for Eddie because if Conor Benn probably can't beat Ryan Garcia, but who knows what aliens and drugs will be in both of their systems come fight night. But if Conor was to win, then we've always got Conor Benn versus Crocker as a unification fight.
Facts.
Do you know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. But yeah, it's gross. It's gross, and I don't know. What when Turkey came in again, people thought like it was going to be some kind of like governing judiciary body. It's just another body, bro. It's another belt, another governing. They do dodgy shit themselves, but who can hold these people to any type of account? If you're somebody that's been leapfrogged or skipped over, is there someone you can complain to? Is this like, do you know what I'm saying? It's just boxing is the Wild West, blood. This is why man come and go, and it's a money thing. But neither of these guys are even world level fighters. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's no evidence of this.
Especially in the case of Conor Benn. Conor Benn has the least claim to be world level. Least claim, bro. He's
Yeah,
got the least claim to be world level. Conor Benn is a guy who he's got a 50% winning ratio against Chris Eubank at 60. He's now coming down to 147. You gotta earn the right. We don't even know if he can make weight at 147.
yeah, facts.
So for me, it's disgusting,
It's
bro.
got it's gonna look so ironic if he ends up going out at 147 the same way that Chris has gone out at 160.
And it's possible, but
And it's
I've heard,
possible.
I've heard Eddie Hearn's recent retractions of his comments against Devin Haney and him saying, "Oh, yeah, well, Devin Haney was boring, but at the end of the day, he's a hard guy to beat, and it's a difficult fight for Conor Benn." We already knew that. We already knew that. The issue is when you look at the current landscape of 147, Devin Haney done all of you man a favor, and that's the truth, bro. Because if Devin Haney didn't fight Brian Norman Jr., you would have had slim pickings of who to fight a world title for. If he,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, we know Rolly is supposedly supposed to be fighting Giasov next. I can't see Rolly beating Giasov. And I definitely don't see Conor Benn beating Giasov. That's never gonna happen. I'll
No.
put my last pound on
Conor Ben
that.
won't fight Giasov.
Exactly. So it's not going to happen. So then he fights Crocker. I can see Conor Benn fighting Crocker, but he publicly said he doesn't want to do the rehydration thing. So then he has to pick between Barrios and Devin. And at the end of the day, Barrios is an easier fight. I don't even know who I want to win, bro. I don't even between Barrios, Ryan Garcia, and Conor Benn. I genuinely don't know who I'd want to win, bro. That's like
They've
picking
somehow
between.
taken the what people consider to be the worst world champion and made him someone that everybody's rooting for. Because man don't want Ryan to hold that belt, and man don't want Ben to hold that belt. Do you know what I mean, Barrios is just seeing his support going up and probably wondering what he did to deserve this blood. Do you know what I'm saying? Because he's just like, do you know what I mean? I didn't even know. I didn't even know, man. I didn't even know. It might even be worse if Manny Pacquiao won that fight. I mean, who knows if it'd be even worse? I
In
don't
an
know.
ideal world, bro, Ryan wins and beats both of them. In an ideal world.
And then what? Unification fight against Devin.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, see, I thought so. I thought that's where we were going with that. I thought that's where we were going. But yeah, Conor Benn, he's got to be first in line to fight for a world title fight.
But
Another
yeah, but
opportunity for a
whilst we're
Brit.
on this topic, we have to just talk about the WBC's recent actions,
Well,
bro.
this is what I was coming to. If you look at the little visual, Boom. There we go. This is what I was coming to. Do you know what I mean? We got to talk. You take it away. You talk about it. The WBC and the way they've been conducting
Yeah, so
themselves.
they obviously had a recent convention and they ordered a few fights. I know Nick alluded to the Boatsy versus Ben Whitaker fight. No one's hating on that fight, you know. And they done some really good things in the convention. But Crawford being the gangster that he went live after getting stripped of his WBC belt. And he brought up some really valid points. By the way, I just want to say something as well. We're not going to talk about this, but another thing the WBC done was a fight that me and Nick was eventually going to be live for was Dalton Smith versus Matthias. Obviously, Matthias was found with an adverse finding of PEDs in his system. And the WBC has said that they're still willing to let the fight go ahead because the ostarine that was in his system wasn't enough to say that it was performance enhancing, regardless of the fact that the substance is banned. Going against VADA's testing, which again, the WBC doing a mad thing for that as well. I don't even know what to say about that. That's a mad thing. But Crawford basically said them man tried to tax him for 300 bags and say, yo, there's 300 bags that they tried to get in sanctioning fees, 300,000 US dollars in sanctioning fees after the Canelo Crawford fight, and apparently he had agreed as becoming the undisputed champion that with the other governing bodies on a purse that he would give to all of them. All three of them agreed. Other than well, three out of the four agreed, and the WBC said they wanted 300K. And for me, when I
Didn't
first
the WBC agree at first though? Because this would have come out before the fight. I thought the WBC agreed.
no, the
They never agreed from the
WBC
beginning.
No, that's not how it works, Nick. So normally the WBC or the governing body that's hosting the fight will have a percentage of the purse. So whoever wins the fight, they will get a percentage of the fighter purse. But I don't know how this is gonna work because normally fighter purses are disclosed because you get back end money. But these guys done deals up front. When you do deals directly with Turkey and the site fee or with the whether it's a broadcaster, site fee or promoter, you don't have to disclose with the governing body how much money you get paid. So
Yeah.
that's why when Mauricio Suleiman's saying it's around about 50 mil, Crawford saying you don't know how much I got paid. You're speculating I got paid 50 mil. Under normal
Got you.
circumstances, we have to write down those fees. But because Turkey's involved in boxing, Turkey, you know how much money's brought into the gate, you know how much pay-per-views you do, but you're not working off that percentage. You're not getting a percentage of pay-per-view. You're not getting a percentage of
That's what I thought. I thought the WBC were vexed because I thought I got it the wrong way around. But I did think that maybe they were working off of what they thought. They work off a pre-agreed fee of what they thought it was going to be, and then maybe after Manor found out that Turkey was paying them a lot more, he was like, "Hold on a minute, what's going on
yeah,
here?"
so in reality, that is what's happened. So
Yeah,
when they figured out that that's how much they're getting paid, they've then created their own percentage. And
managers
then
raised the invoice randomly. Managers raised a random invoice and said, "Yeah, blood, yeah, I want this money now."
now the reason why it's stupid is Crawford may have paid it if he was one fight away from undisputed. I've already become undisputed. I'll just give up the money. I'll just give up the belt and pay you none. How about that? That's just dumb business, right?
Not only that, Turkey is currently trying to make that rematch happen.
Yeah,
So, this is going to be the biggest fight. This is going to be the biggest fight at 168. If you want any money for this belt at all, do you
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Or take your belt away and then we'll fight and we'll split the fees of the other man. But the rematch is happening. This would make more sense if the rematch was never happening. And it's just like you've come in and just ruined my cash cow in Canelo. But you want this fight to happen again. You might as well hold 100 bags now and hold another 100 bags for the
yeah.
next fight.
Facts.
But you're arguing now for more money when there's another job to do. It don't make no sense.
The issue with me is when you first heard 300 bags, I want to know if your thoughts went to the same thing that I thought. 300 bags for one fight that a sanctioning fee is that WBC is charging is flipping mad, bro. When
Yeah.
you think about the fact that Canelo fights normally two times a year at a minimum of 50 million per fight. You think about the likes of Ryan Garcia, who's fighting Barrios for the WBC belt. You think about the likes of when AJ was fighting these big names. What do you think? Like, what's your when you heard 300? Because I knew they took a fee, but I never actually knew what that fee was. When you heard 300 bags, what did you think?
I didn't think 300 bags was crazy. I'll be honest with
Mm-hmm.
you. Just because this fight was such a big money fight and we were hearing about the purses, I've always thought that we were looking at about 3% of a fighter's purse.
What, then you got four governing bodies to pay.
Yeah, so then obviously with that I didn't know, but then I thought 3% of whatever money he would have made, or sorry, 300 bags versus the money that he would have made, I didn't think was crazy. I think it's more the way that they've gone about it, or the fact that they've had something pre-agreed, and Mauricio Suleiman is now trying to change his mind based on what they had
The
agreed
fact that the
previously.
other governing bodies were happy to take what Crawford gave tells me that it's a Mauricio Suleiman thing. Do you
Of course
not
it
think
is.
that?
Yeah, of course it is. And Mauricio Suleiman treats Canelo like Diddy treats his boyfriend in jail. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think that there's a bit of spite there because obviously
Facts.
you've ruined our number one cash cow, and we know Mauricio Suleiman is extremely biased to Mexicans or Mexican Americans. That's a fact. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, man, we could never have a governing body run by a black man that treated black fighters the way that the WBC treats Mexican fighters. Impossible.
Never.
Impossible. Impossible. I can't even my fantasies don't even extend that far. I don't even have that kind of imagination. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, impossible, bro. So the 300 bags in itself, I don't think that, for the money that they get, for the money that they're making from Turkey, I think the 300 bags is light work. I think that there's other stuff. I think that it's the way that he's gone about it, Mauricio Suleiman. It's the fact that we've had conversations, we've all agreed, and after the fact, you've come back and said, "No, I'm not on that." Do you know what I'm saying? Does that mean you're going to rob a bank? Do you know what I'm saying? You don't know how much is going to be in the bank, but we're going to rob a bank. I'm going to pay you 100 grand. You say, "Cool, you're happy with 100 grand."
But
When we rob the bank, and you see I get 2 million, now you're arguing with me afterwards, saying, "Oh, I'll go to the feds if you don't pay me more money." But we agreed 100 bags. That's what we agreed. You should have
yeah,
negotiated better.
I, I find it interesting because um Mauricio Suleiman, he's obviously looking at it from a perspective of what's in the best interest of the WBC. But the WBC genuinely are making like if I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying because the 300 bags is just a small percentage of whatever Crawford got paid. But it's also quite um interesting how fast they were stripping him over the fact that he didn't pay sanctioning fees. You know what I'm saying? Like he even spoke about the fact that, bro, you lot didn't strip Canelo when he didn't fight Benavidez and didn't enforce a mandatory. You lot, the faster action was when it came over money. Do you know what I'm saying? Instead of enforcing your actual rules, it was more about money. And I feel
Didn't
like that's
Deontay
that.
Wilder have the WBC belt?
Yeah,
He had 2.5 years of not fighting his mandatory. Canelo didn't fight mandatories. He was doing voluntary mandatories. When we used to criticize him, they would say, "Oh well, at least he's taken a voluntary mandatory." Yeah, of course, because he's not taking the person who's fought their way into the number one position. So that's why we want to see him fight that person. The WBC have let their fighters get away with absolute murder. I also think that there's a problem there with Mauricio Suleiman and Turkey. Do you know what I'm saying? We know that these two don't like each other. Do you know what I mean? And Crawford said the ring belt is free. There's no sanctioning bodies. There's no
but
sanctioning fees for the ring belt.
this also gives people like Dana White a lot of credit. Not
That's
credit.
exactly that's what I thought. I thought this plays into Dana White's hands a lot. This is exactly the kind of thing that Dana wants to, or not wants to, because I don't trust him. But this is exactly the kind of thing that Dana is going to say that he's cleaning up when
Yeah,
he makes
facts.
his way into the sport. That's exactly what I thought as well.
Facts. Because if I'm Dana White and I'm like, whoa, you're asking for 300 bags. Well, obviously Dana's going to be asking for way more than that. But having a big voice like Crawford fight against the belts, then help his argument to say, well, we're getting rid of the belts and there's only going to be one belt. So instead of
Exactly.
paying 300 bags across four belts, you're paying 300 bags to just one. Do you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So for me, it's the same shit. Like it's the same shit.
It is the same shit.
I,
Of
I'm
course, it's the same
I'm
shit.
I'm personally always gonna be on the side of the fighter. The part that I just find a bit interesting is the fact that you stripped him so fast, but also the other governing bodies were happy with the fee that they got paid. So
But the other governing bodies weren't losing as much, though. Do you know what I'm saying? Because they were not losing their flag bearer. The WBC lost their flag bearer. The other governing bodies were not losing their flag bearer. So I understand the frustration. And I also think that if you kept a better relationship, but kept a better business relationship with Turkey, there could have been more transparent conversations around what the fees were going to be for these fighters. And then maybe you could have found out a lot more. Because man, Mauricio Suleiman probably knew what Canelo was getting paid. But he
yeah,
wouldn't have known
probably.
what. But he wouldn't have known what Crawford was getting paid. Because if I'm Crawford, me and you ain't got no relationship. If I'm Canelo, me and you have a relationship. You've helped me, and I've helped you. But if it's Crawford, we ain't brethren. You can't come to me on a slide thing and say, "Yo, brother, what's this?"
Crawford was saying, "What am I paying you for?" I know why Canelo pays Crawford. Canelo pays the
Exactly,
WBC.
because you guys are going to look after me and protect me. Correct. But we don't have that relationship. No, we
Yeah,
don't have that relationship. So I don't care. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't care. Everybody saw me beat the brakes off your boy, and we're gonna do it again. If we weren't going to do it again, you might be able to cut and run. Turkey wants this to happen again. So we'll see what happens with that one. Do you know what I'm saying? But
facts.
I think that Mauricio Suleiman has been very foolish, in my opinion. I think that he's underestimated Crawford's commercial value. I think that he's asked for a fee that is lower than what he expected Crawford to be getting paid. Crawford, now look at Crawford saying the ring belt's the only one that counts. He didn't even talk about the IBF. He didn't even talk about the WBA. He said the
But
ring
but
belt. The
but
ring
it's
belt.
interesting because I also felt like it was an oversight on Mauricio Suleiman's behalf because I think he felt like Crawford wasn't gonna win.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. He thought that you weren't going to win, and he thought that you weren't going to get paid that much. So because nobody knows you and Canelo,
I don't
the
need to
WBC. So we've negotiated some little man fee. Then he's found out Crawford's making 30, 40 million,
and
whatever the
Crawford
millions
won.
were,
And
and
Crawford
Crawford won, and he's like, "Nah, brethren, wait, wait. I've just charged you 0.0001%. Am I a dickhead? Yes, you are, blood. Yes, you are, because you actually believe your own hype. You protected Canelo so much. You believe he really is the guy that you made him out to believe. Do you know what I'm saying? Made him out to seem like he was. Do you
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
facts.
I think Mauricio Suleiman is it's an oversight and he's being a brat. I think he fucked up and he's being a brat. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's what it is.
Yeah, facts.
Do you know what I mean?
Facts.
And we know, look at, like I say, Crawford saying, "Oh, ring belt's the best one." Yeah, because they're paying you. They're paying you a lot of money, bruv. And they ain't taking no money back. Do you know what I mean? Because that money's going to come from Ring again
Yeah, of
man,
course.
he didn't say the IBF belt's the main belt. He didn't say the WBA is the main. He ain't got no beef with them. He said the Ring belt is the one. Do you know what I'm saying? So we'll see about your sanctioning fees again. Somebody's going to have to be flexible because let's see if they can make this fight again, which they want to do, and if they can make this fight again, let's see if it's all four belts this time, and then let's see what happens. Do you know what I mean? Because Mauricio Suleiman might have to swallow his pride. Do you know what I'm saying? Because what are you going to do then?
You
You could
can't watch
take,
the next man that make money and you ain't making no money from it.
there you go. Especially if it's a pound for pound great like Crawford. Like you said, like when you get to a certain level, you've kind of transcended the belts.
And it's mad because at the same day he ordered Hamza Shiraz versus Mbili for WBC, but that ain't generating no money, bro.
That's why he's vexed. That's why he's vexed because Crawford's going to come and beat Canelo again and then bounce again. He ain't going to fight no Hamza Shiraz. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's
Facts.
jarring. Like you're just fucking up all my business plans, but it is what it is. Speaking of Canelo, somebody who, Canelo arguably earned his right to pick his opponents, and that's what a lot of people say. Somebody who definitely earned his right to pick his opponents, Alexander Usyk. And
No,
now
he
Usyk is
hasn't.
at,
He hasn't.
well, this
He hasn't.
this is the conversation. Has he earned his right? He's saying now he wants to fight Ward. He doesn't want to fight Wardley. He wants to fight Wilder. Now this is shameless from Alexander Usyk. Shameless, but I hear it because
No, I
you
don't
have
hear it.
taken.
I
You've
don't hear it.
taken risky fights, and you've basically cleaned out the division. Usyk is my position on this is this. Usyk is 38. Yeah, Fury is 1 year older than him. AJ is a couple of years younger than him, 34, 35, something like that. I don't know how old Dubois is. Wardley is almost like a different generation. Wardley,
Mhm.
even though he's old, even though he's 30, he's the new crop. So if I clean out my crop, do you know what I mean? Then I respect it. The only thing that goes against Usyk in for that narrative is that you didn't fight Joseph Parker because Joseph Parker was also the old crop, but he didn't really generate as much money. And I told you, we said it here. I said it here on this show a few weeks ago. Go back and look. Shane will tell you what episode it is because he can remember all this. I told you, Usyk is not fighting Wardley. Fabio Wardley does not generate enough money for Usyk. Fabio Wardley cannot. Usyk has had to build his name off the right dance partners. Fabio Wardley alone does not sell out Wembley.
No.
He don't. He don't. Do you know what I'm saying? And I love Wardley as a boxer. Like he's excited. I respect him loads. But I'm just talking about commercially. You don't. So you're gonna. I'm not coming out of camp to go. I'll fight Tyson Fury again for a third time. Like what? Do you know what I mean? I've got a certain
Retire.
amount.
Retire.
I hear you.
If that, this is the thing. Everybody keeps telling me this, and my brother says the same thing. If that's the case, bro, retire. If
I
you
hear you.
are, if you're so hell bent on being, you know what? I'm not gonna fight the next crop, the next generation. Then retire. For me,
Or
Crawford.
relinquish the belts. Or relinquish the belts.
I know you retire, bro. For me, Crawford done the same thing when he was at 147. The difference with Crawford is he moved up. He moved up and fought Madrimov, then fought Canelo. He moved up. He didn't stay at 147 and not fight
Usyk
heat.
can't move up. Usyk can't move up there.
This is my point.
If there was Valuev, if there was someone like a Valuev at super heavyweight that he could fight for 40 million, he'd fight him. He just can't
But
move up
no,
anymore.
my point is, what is the point of you? Wherever you're fighting for, whatever you're fighting for, moving forward, for me, doesn't doesn't override the fact that you have obligations, bro. Fabio Wardley was your number one contender. You personally said you will fight the winner of Fabio Wardley and Joseph Parker. You said that because you thought Joseph Parker was gonna win, but Wardley won, so you have to fight Wardley. If you don't
I
fight,
don't know. I don't know if I don't know what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I'm not arguing with you, but I don't know if he was even going to fight Joseph Parker after he beat Dubois. I was there live, and we saw Parker go
nah,
up
he
and
would have.
say, and he walked up and said, "Yo, what you saying, man? Can it be me and you next?" And he was like, He looked at him. He looked at him. I was like, yeah, I don't
I
know.
think he would have because,
Yeah,
as you
yeah.
said, as you said, Parker was from the old generation, and he would want to clean out that old generation. But for me, I don't really like what they're doing with Wardley, and I'm a massive Usyk fan. I think Usyk is one of the greatest fighters of in history. I think what Usyk's done, I think he will go down as the greatest pro slash amateur that's ever fought. When you look at his
Yeah.
amateur and professional record, he will go down as the greatest fight ever. But the truth is, he personally is ducking Fabio Wardley. And I'm not saying he's ducking Wardley because he thinks he's going to lose, but he's ducking Wardley because for
That's his
whatever reason,
responsibility. He has a
he's ducking.
responsibility. Yeah.
You,
Yeah. He's ducking his responsibility. Yeah.
when Ali fought Spinks, Spinks only had 10 fights, bro. When
Mm.
you are a world champion, bro, you have an obligation to defend that title. Wardley is the second best heavyweight in the world right now. Fight him. There's no excuse, bro. You fight him. And in the cool, let's say you didn't fight him. If you said, you know what, I'm going to retire. I say, you know what, he's earned the right to retire. So when you said earn the right, he's earned the right to retire and say
Mm.
he's the best of this era. He's earned that right. He's not earned the right to fight Wilder. He ain't earned
Yeah.
that right, though. Wilder's coming off two
Wilder's coming
losses.
off back to back losses, bro. Back to back
Facts.
losses
And
and
if you're
back to
gonna
back
keep it
losses.
real, you
Back
can
to
say
back losses.
he's come off back to back losses. Because he
Back
lost
to
to Fury twice. And
back to
that
back
little idiot fight
losses.
that he had in between, I don't count that.
Back to back losses, by the way. One of them against Joseph Parker himself. The
One of them
man that
against Zhang.
but I'm saying he lost to Joseph Parker. Wardley beat Parker. So, there's even a more of an argument that you should be fighting Wardley because the only guys that are unfinished food on that from that generation would be Parker and Wilder. But we already seen Parker Wilder.
That's
You know what
why
I'm
for
saying?
me, I'm also vexed at Woodley as well. Because he didn't learn nothing from Dylan White, bro. Because if Dylan White was in this position, bro, Usyk ain't getting away with that.
Yeah.
Woodley just seems happy that he's world champion. But fam, if I Dylan White's like you
But
gotta
if
call
you're
a
Wardley,
spade a spade.
if you're Wardley though, okay, if you're Fabio Wardley,
Mhm.
what percentage chance do you give yourself of winning of beating Usyk?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
But
Okay. Hold on. The reason I'm asking, what percentage chance do you give yourself of beating Filip Hrgovic?
a high chance.
Zhang,
A high chance as well.
Jared Anderson,
A high chance.
Moses Atoma.
Slightly less of a higher chance, but yeah, lesser than them.
Other than so at the moment in WBO rankings, that's the top five. So you might be better off letting him go.
No, bro.
I'm just
No, bro. No, bro.
If
No,
you're
bro.
Wardley, bro,
You know why you
if you're
can't say
Wardley,
that? You know why you can't say that? Because Wardley is looking at it from a perspective of, bro, I've been fighting like blue collar and all of that. And I never even thought I'd
white
win a
collar.
world title, white collar, whatever. I never even thought I'd win a world title in the first place. Now
Yeah.
you're at a stage where you can become undisputed, fam. Bro, that's exceeded any dream. That's like you going out, Nick, to say that, you know what, I'm gonna
It's
go
not.
and
It might not have been his dream though. You grew up in a boxing gym. I grew up boxing. Anthony Yard never went to bed hugging his pillow, dreaming of undisputed. He never dreamed that far. Man never
I
dreamed
know,
that far.
but now it's actually a reality, bro. It's imagine Nick. Yeah.
No,
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 bro.
no,
Imagine Nick.
bro.
You've always wanted to.
You keep having more faith in people than they're having. Like, Jump said, they don't have this level of faith in themselves.
No, I'm not saying that he. I'm not saying that he believes he's gonna win, but I'm
Yeah.
saying if you, Nick, if you've lived your whole life trying to get 100 bags, and now you get an opportunity to get 1 billion, bro, you're gonna chase down that billion, bro.
If you believe that the chance that it's even a chance, you have to believe it's even a chance. Okay,
Bro,
if
it's in front of
my
you.
whole life,
You're
okay,
one fight away, bro.
hear this. My whole life, I've wanted to get. Let's not do 1 billion because that's crazy. My whole life, I've wanted to make 100 bags. I have the opportunity to make 1 million. If I don't make the million, I lose the opportunity to make 100 bags.
No, but he's
Do I
already
still?
become world champion, though. He's already become world champion. What else do you have to lose? What do
Yeah,
you
but
have to lose?
he got elevated into being a world champion. The next world champions after Usyk's gone would be Ajit Caballero in the WBC, Kubrat Pulev in the WBA. Like he can, they're winnable. They're winnable unification fights. So
Bro,
he could potentially get the opportunity to unify later on. If he loses to Usyk, he goes right back down the pile. I
nah,
don't know
for
if he thinks
me,
it's the gamble. I don't think it. Look at not even. I'm not even just talking about Wardley. Look at his team. Look at his who. Like, bro, you can say this, yeah, but if you're Fabio Wardley, I think of everyone that watches this show, I think 8 out of 10 are not taking that gamble. 8 out of 10
I'm
ain't
taking it.
gambling.
I'm taking it.
If I've
I'm
never dreamed
taking
of,
it.
if I've
I'm
never dreamed of
taking it.
being, I've never dreamed of being a professional footballer. I've never dreamed of it. I started playing in the park. I get scouted by QPR. This actually happened to me. I got scouted by QPR and Arsenal. When I went to my trial for Arsenal, I knew I would never play in the Premier League because that man is superhuman. But any different conversation. I get scouted for QPR. Wow. I never thought I could play pro. Then Arsenal come, and the gamble is come to a trial with us. If you pass the trial, you sign for Arsenal. If you don't pass the trial, you lose your contract at QPR. How many people are gambling? A lot of people ain't gambling, bro. A
And
lot of
bro,
people.
for me, this how I look at it, bro. I'm one fight away from beating arguably one of the greatest fighters in history.
Yeah,
Bro, this is what you fight for. This is what you fight for. Bro. If you're not fighting for this, don't fight, bro. If you're not fighting for this, if you're not
you're
fighting
being
to be
silly.
the best,
You're being
bro.
silly. You're
Nah,
being
bro.
silly. You're
Don't,
being silly.
bro. If
You're being
you,
silly.
for me, if you're a world
For those
champion,
of you that don't know, Shane is an accredited boxing journalist, and Shane's traveled the world and he's gone to the best gyms and he's met all these guys, and Shane's been around all these man. Shane, you've been in gyms in fucking Kazakhstan and Mexico and all these places where, yes, that is the thought process in these places, in the Olympics and in these places. That's how man think. I've been in boxing gyms in England. That is not how man think. We saw Sam Noakes give a good performance against Abdullah Mason. Sam Noakes has never dreamed to be an undisputed champion. Like it's not been in there. Like it's just.
no, but it's there. It's there. You're right. It's right there, fam.
But I'm
It's
saying,
right
bro,
there.
man have to believe that it's the man don't really believe it's there. Like man don't really believe it's there, bro. They don't
Here's my
believe it,
question
bro.
to you then. Here's my question to you. U6 sparred Wardley. They've
Yeah.
sparred before. Do you think U6 ducked Wardley because of their sparring?
No,
I can't
no.
think of a justifiable reason for why U6 not taking this fight. Why Wilder?
Because
Wilder, bro.
Wilder might generate more money than Woodley.
Fam, Wilder is coming off 2 losses,
If
bro.
he fights Wilder in America, you know Americans. Weren't both Wilder's losses in Saudi?
Yeah.
Then to Americans, to a lot of Americans, it never happened. In the in the minds of a lot of Americans, it never happened. Do you know what I'm saying? So if Usyk goes to fight Wilder in America in MSG, it's like that will Vegas, that will generate way more money than fight. Where's he going to fight Woodley? They're not sending out they're not sending out Wembley. They're not sending out Tottenham. Where they going to
Ipswich.
fight? Huh?
Ipswich. Ipswich.
But no banter. Where are they going to fight? Do you know what I'm saying? There's more money to fight. There's more money to fight an easier fight.
I've never thought Usyk was a money guy. Still, I thought Usyk was
But
a
he,
legacy guy.
I think that I think he's done it right. I agree with anyone criticizing him. I'm not disagreeing with you. But what he has done right is solidified his legacy and then moved to money rather than starting off and going straight to
Nah,
money
bro,
in the
there's no
beginning.
excuse, bro. There's no
I hear
excuse.
you. I hear you. You're a boxing purist. I hear you. Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, do you know what I'm
That
saying?
was the same as when I saw Mayweather
We
fight
know
Andre Berto,
Shane, you're from a middle
and
class privileged background, isn't it? So we know like your view on
when,
life.
when I saw Mayweather fight Andre Berto and flipping Conor McGregor, I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna praise that. I'm not gonna
Conor McGregor's
praise that.
different. He was retired when he fought Conor McGregor.
Cool, true, but when you see Fury fight Francis Ngannou, I'm not gonna praise that, bro.
Yeah,
You're a
we didn't
world
praise we
champion.
didn't praise AJ for knocking out Ngannou. It's just like yeah, like this is supposed
You
to
know what I'm
happen.
saying? Like, bro, for me, if you're a world champion and a heavyweight world champion, you got to conduct yourself in the best fashion. And I don't think
I
he
hear
did.
you.
I don't
I hear
think
you.
he did, bro. For
I
me,
hear you.
I'm not going to give him credit for that. And if he fight,
I can understand being Usyk and going through the two fights against AJ and the two fights against Fury and the two fights against Dubois and cleaning out the big names and maybe if I retire right now, people might say, but you never fought Wilder in his prime. Now this fight doesn't do that for you because Wilder's obviously not in his prime. But going to fight Ward, if he retired right now, no one is saying, well, you never fought Wardley. No one's saying that. Unless you're from Ipswich, unless you're an old white man with tattoos on his head drinking Stella in it from Ipswich, then maybe you might say that. But generally speaking, no one ain't calling for that. No one ain't calling you out for not taking that
all
fight.
I'm
There
saying
should
is if
the
Woodley
outrage, the
go,
outrage, the outrage should have been that he didn't fight Joseph Parker at the time. Once there wasn't that outrage, we could say Joseph Parker fight Joseph. But once there wasn't that
if
outrage,
Woodley
he
goes
would have
on and
known
keeps
that he could
winning,
do what he wants to do.
let's say Woodley fights Atama and wins. Let's say Woodley fights Caballero and wins. People are going to say that you duck you Woodley.
He might fight him at that point. If Wardley could go and beat the Caballeros and the Itomas and that, and his name gets to be in that name, where Wardley can then go and sell out. Help you and I together can sell out the O2, not the O2, sell out Wembley or sell out Tottenham. If we can do that, then we can do that.
No, I'm saying, let's say Usyk retires. Let's say Usyk fights
Usyk
White.
might come out retirement at 45 and whoop Wardley. Usyk can whoop Wardley anytime. What are we talking
Yeah.
about? Usyk could beat Wardley in 2 years.
I'm disappointed with Usyk still. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm
I hear you.
disappointed, fam.
I'm personally not, but I hear why you are. I can't argue against you. I hear why people would feel that way, especially because a lot of his brand is built off not being that kind of person. Do you know what I'm
Facts.
saying? But at the same time, we can't begrudge. I didn't begrudge Crawford for going to 168 and whooping Canelo for loads of money and not paying the WBC their sanctioning fees. Do you know what I'm saying? Other purists would be like, yo, you got boots, you got people at 150. You've earned you can do this. I hear you, because you're not Conor Benn. You're not. I mean, Chris Eubank calling for a Canelo fight. It's like, bro, who are you? Who actually are you? These men have done enough at that time to. You know what I'm saying? But I
So
hear you though.
you're basically robbing Woodley of a chance of being great.
If I see Wardley knocking on the door, then I hear you. If I see Wardley saying, yeah, he's a great champion, blah blah blah, then cool. Do you know what I'm saying? Joseph Parker didn't even push for the fight like that. Joseph Parker shouldn't have even accepted the Wardley fight. Joseph Parker's the one that got fucked over. He's probably doing cocaine because of the stress. Because of the stress. Do you know what I'm saying? He's got to go to Saudi and fight. He should be fighting for undisputed. He's fighting Wardley. That's a disrespect. What are you talking about? Do you know what I'm saying? So once we saw that happening, we already knew what it was. I told man Usyk's never fighting Wardley.
Yeah, that's a
I
fact.
told man that. Jay Opataya returns to the ring.
This
Like the
week,
video and subscribe, by the way. We've been live for an hour. If you're new to the channel, these are normally done in my apartment. Nice little view and setup and all this kind of stuff. But Shane's touring the world right now. Do you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But We're live. We're live for pretty much every fight. We're live 4 times on Saturday, covering 3 boxing matches. Jai Opataya in Australia in the morning, then the Arsenal game in the afternoon, then Ransom Bantz fighting and the Influencer fight in the evening, and then Cruz versus Roach in the small hours if you're in the UK, in the evening if you're in Texas in America. So we're live. We're putting in the work. So if you're new to the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel. But Jai Opataya returns to the ring. Talk to me. Benavidez and Zerda were talking about they're going to fight at cruiserweight. We've criticized Joe Pataya previously for looking like he's trying to duck the smoke with Zerda.
No,
Who's
no,
ducking?
no, 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 no. I've never criticized Jai Patel. Never. I've criticized Eddie Hearn,
Eddie
and
Hearn.
I'm gonna criticize Eddie Hearn again.
Okay.
I'm going to say
Is this not Oscar though? We're not looking at Oscar at no point.
no. We're
Okay.
looking at Eddie Hearn, and I'll
Okay.
tell you why. For those who watched the last Patel video, you're gonna hear me say it again. The truth is, since Eddie Hearn has signed Opataya, he's done absolutely jack shit for this dude. Bro, let me tell you why he's done jack shit for this dude. When he signed Opataya, he signed the Opataya who beat Maris Breedis. You didn't get him the Breedis fight. You didn't get him the Breedis fight. He made his name off the back of beating Breedis. He beat Breedis.
They
Then
had
he
two
signed,
fights as well, right?
yeah?
They
They
had
had
two
two
fights.
fights. he he then signed with you. When he signed with you, you thinking, cool, he beat Bradis, you're on the top of the world. Since he's fought Bradis, tell me one C-level fighter that he's fought. Who's he fought, bro? Since then, Zerdo, who had lost to Bivol at 75, has moved up to 60 to cruiserweight, has won 2 belts. He's won 2 belts, bro. He's won 2 belts, and Opata ain't won nothing.
Yeah.
Since Zerdo's moved to cruiserweight, Zerdo has fought Dorticos, Chris Billam Smith, Glamarian, and he's about to fight Benavidez. Look how much money Oscar De La Hoya's made for Zerdo Ramirez,
Say that again.
unified
I
world
think I think
champion.
this I think the stream messed up. Say that again. Since he moved to cruiserweight, go through that again.
He's fought, I think he's fought Joseph. I'll do it in order. Joe Smith Jr.,
Yeah.
Glamarian, Chris Billam Smith, Dorticos, and he's about to fight Benavidez. Look at the level of opposition he's fought.
Yeah.
3 of them. Wait, no. Joe Smith Jr., Glamarian,
Dylan Smith.
Dorticos, Billam Smith. He's fought 4 former world champions. 2 of them he's dethroned from being a world champion, and
Yeah.
then about to fight Benavidez. What promotional job are you doing for him, Eddie Hearn? What have you
Yeah.
done for Opataya? What have you done for Opataya? Zerdo's come off a loss. He's come off a loss, and he's got in big fights. And you ain't got him nothing.
The
Nothing.
argument they would make the argument in the IBF rankings. This Sin Cara that he's fighting on Saturday, who I don't massively rate, but this is saying Sin Cara is the #1 ranked guy.
Bro, he might even be mandatory. I don't know. But my point is,
Yeah.
where's that? This fight isn't moving the needle for Opataya. It ain't gonna
Yeah.
give him bigger purses. If Zerdo goes out and beats Benavidez, Zerdo's one of the biggest names in boxing, bro.
Yeah.
He's one of the biggest names in boxing if he goes out and
Yeah.
beats Benavidez. So my point is, how have you let fighters come to this division and surpassed your fighter already?
Yeah.
Zerdo has surpassed Jai Patel already.
Yeah.
Already. When you mention 100, when you mention cruiserweight, the first name you think of should be Jai Patel because he is the best at the division. He beat
Yeah.
the man. But at the end of the day, he is literally in the wilderness. He's in the wilderness, bro. And that's the only fault of Eddie Hearn. He's too busy focused on people like Conor Benn, too busy focused on people like AJ, and he hasn't done nothing for Jai Patel. He's done he's done a horrible job for Jai Patel.
At least at least
Horrible.
at least AJ is 2-time unified world champion. Conor Benn is literally nothing. And a shout out to not a shout out, sorry, donkey of the day, I guess, for and I know he's old, but Badu Jack, who I didn't even realize, I'm just looking at the rankings, he's fighting in California on the 13th of December. That's not even in our list to cover, but we might have to cover that one. And he's fighting a guy who's not even Noel Michelian, who's
Yeah,
not
McKellion.
ranked.
I actually seen that guy fight live on a he fought on a Gravatsky on the card that I
He's
worked
he's
on.
he's number one ranked for WBC as well, McKellian, but he's not even ranked at all in any of the other governing bodies.
The
Period.
only
Do
reason
you know what
why
I mean?
he got that fight was they had a fight on Mike Tyson versus
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul undercard,
Mm.
and the fight was controversial. So they're running the fight back. That's why I think the WBC reinforced the mandatory for that. But
Is there anything with Zerdo where, like, any of these guys? I guess I was going to say no. Zerdo's with. I'm trying to think about promotional companies, but he fought Chris Billum Smith, and Billum Smith is with Frank, right?
Billum Smith is with Ben Shalom.
Ben Shalom. Okay, fine. Yeah. So
That was
these
on,
are.
but that was on the Turkey card. That wasn't on the Ben Shalom card. That was on the Turkey card.
Yeah, I mean, Ben
So
Shalom is not. Ben Shalom's not got the money to get Zerdo Ramirez to fight in his cards, but
but
yeah,
that's my point.
yeah.
At the
These
end of
these
the
these are
day,
these are fights that could have happened. I'm trying to think of if these are fights that couldn't have happened with my man for whatever reason. But
yeah, for me, I don't understand. There's no excuse. In actual fact, there's no excuse. There's
does
no
Jael
excuse.
Pattaya does he not travel? I'm gonna go look
The
at like his
Jai fought in Saudi, bro. He's fought in Saudi.
yeah.
He won his belts in Saudi. He beat Bradis on the Tyson Fury Alexander Usyk 1 undercard. That's when he beat Bradis. That was on a
He beat
Saudi
Ellis.
card.
He beat Ellis Zoro, and then and then he fought Bradis, and then he fought Jack Massey.
Jack Massey was in Saudi as well. I was there
That's what
for
I'm
that
saying.
fight.
Those
I was
three are
there
all
for
in
that fight.
Saudi. Those three are all in Saudi. And Jordan Thompson was in Wembley. So he does travel as well. I'm just trying to think of like why this what's happening here.
And he gets knockouts. So what's the justification, bro?
Yeah. I'm trying to understand it
The
myself.
only thing that
He's
makes
fighting
sense,
regularly as well.
the
This
only thing that
Sin Cara
makes
fight will be
sense
his
to
third
me,
fight in
the only
2025.
thing
Like,
that makes sense to me is that Oscar is overpaying for opponents for Zerdo because Zerdo is one of his only world champions that he has. He's probably one of the only world champions that he has. So obviously I'm going to overpay for him because he's one of the only world champions that I have. So I'm going to overpay. Whereas Eddie Hearn is spreading himself thin. So he's got multiple world champions that certain people are getting
and
ignored.
why are you so sure? And I'm just being devil's advocate. Why are you so sure that Oscar isn't thinking, this is my only world champion. Let me not put him into some dangerous fights. I could end up with no world champion.
No, but he's putting him in there with dangerous fights.
Not as dangerous as Joe Patai.
No, but it's good business, right? If I'm going to a cruiserweight, I'm going to
Yeah.
pick up all the other belts. So then when I fight Joe Pataya, I'm A side.
Yeah.
Joe
Yeah, no,
Pataya
I
should have
get
been
that. Yeah.
A side.
Yeah.
So he picked up a belt against Billy Smith, picked up a belt against Glamarian, and at some point, I presume he's going to try and make him versus Barry Jack or him versus Benavides, whatever.
Yeah.
If he beats Benavides and then fights Barry Jack, Opataya has to come with humble hand. But when he first came to division, Opataya was the man. So for me, that's good business from Oscar De La Hoya. That's
Yeah.
good business. Why would I go into an Opataya fight straight away when I could just pick up the other belts? That's good
Yeah.
business. It's poor business from Eddie to allow him to do that because
Yeah.
what he would never allow him to do that if that was Conor Benn. If that was Conor Benn, or if that was
Devin Haney, for example, he wouldn't
Devin
allow.
Haney
Yeah.
when he had
Yeah.
Devin Haney, or
Yeah.
if that was who else is a big name that if that was Boots, he wouldn't do that. Of when he had Canelo, he wouldn't allow that to happen. But
Yeah.
because it's Opataya, he's literally fumbled the bag, bro. You
Yeah.
refuse to overpay him. And the maddest thing is, the issue is, Nick, what we've both missed out is those fights are on Saudi with a Saudi premium. He didn't put the money up for those fights for Jai Opataya. Turkey put the money up. So
Yeah.
he's not willing to put the money up for Jai. That's
Yeah.
the real
He's put
truth.
zero money into Joe Patai.
Facts.
Zero. Yeah.
Facts. Why would I?
Unless he's fighting mid-level opposition in Australia
Thank
where he's a
you.
big
Now
star.
that's
Yeah.
my point. Because he doesn't want to put the money up. The fights in Australia, I'm going to make money because it's in his hometown. But I'm not going to make enough money to pull in a big name like a Zerdo, a big name that may be like a Billy Smith. Not a big name,
But
but a
why?
bigger
Like,
name.
is this a lack of belief? Is this or what is this?
I think Eddie's spreading himself thin. He has a budget for Matchroom, and um Jayo Patara is one of those people that doesn't give him a big enough return in his
And it's and
investment.
it's and it's cruiserweight, and cruiserweight is not a sexy division.
That's why. But that's why he's going to get criticism. That's why he's going to get criticism. Because for me, now Benavidez moves to cruiserweight, people ain't even asking for Jayo Pataya versus Benavidez, which is a
Yeah.
shame, isn't it? Because Jayo Pataya is supposed to be the best in the division, but Zerdo's getting that fight. You don't know why Zerdo's getting that fight? Because he's kept himself relevant, fighting good level opposition. Do you
I
get what
think
I'm
it's
saying?
partly. I think it's partly geography, though. Do you know what I mean they're both Mexican American? It's partly how they sell it. They're both American. They're both Mexican. That fight is very very easy
Yeah,
to
you're
make.
right. You're right. You're right. But
If
you've now
Jaya Patai was in America, this whole situation would look very different.
maybe Eddie Hearn would have invested more money.
Maybe,
I don't
maybe.
know. Regardless, obviously I'm not even gonna talk about who wins this fight because Jaya Patai is gonna win comfortably. Like, there's no point. We're gonna be live for that fight as well, or Nick's gonna be live for that fight. So
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
looking at who Benavidez's promoter is, but it's
it's PBC. He's with PBC.
oh, he's a PBC. Okay, fine. Okay, cool.
But I don't even know how that's working because his last few fights have been on Saudi cards. So I don't know how that.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know.
Is
He's probably working with Saudi. PBC don't have a broadcasting deal. They don't have a television deal. So I presume it's just going to be a case of Turkey just paying him direct, innit?
yeah. So Benavidez versus Zerda is probably going to be on DAZN then,
Yeah.
because Golden Boy don't have a promoter either, right? Don't have a
No,
television deal.
they're with the zone. Golden Boy with the zone.
Yeah,
PBC
yeah,
don't.
yeah. Cool. Um, we're gonna be live for that fight, so lock in. You know what I'm saying? Then we got Rants and Bants fighting. I watched the face off with him and this football freestyler brother. Yo, this Rants just better smoke this you, bro. You know what I'm
This
saying? I didn't
guy
even
just looks
expect.
like some waste man, fam. Just buck this you up,
Yeah,
bro.
just butt this dude up, man. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got to spend too long on it. Man ain't doing no technical deep dives into it, but I'm gonna be covering it live.
You man, if you
Rants
can
is
get the pay-per-views for it, obviously,
yeah.
this is a guy who supports the channel. So if you support him, it supports us, and if you support us, you should support him. Goes
And
hand in hand.
it's a small broadcasting thing as well. So I'm gonna actually have to pay for the pay per view. Like, man can't do a Bandulu thing from Sky or do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, do you know what I mean? Like, when you see me reacting, please believe I've had to pay for the pay per view for this to get it on to put on the stream. So I'm hoping I make my money back on the stream because I'm gonna spend money, blood. Do you know what I'm saying? But it is what
But
it
yeah,
is.
you man pay for the stream, of course, innit? Like, go support Rants, bro.
Yeah. And I think Rance has got ambitions to get into Misfits, and Rance is like, he's not old, but he's older. So I'm curious to see how long he wants to pursue this
For
boxing
me,
thing
I
for,
just think
because
it. For me, I think someone like Rance, yeah, he still keeps himself in good shape. Obviously,
yeah.
he's a big fan of the sport, but some of these men are shit at fighting, bro. So you just earn bare money to just box man up for free, fam.
You
You know
know
what I'm
what I love
saying?
about this as well? I feel like for Rance on a personal level, I feel like, you see when he does YouTube, yeah, Rance does YouTube with a lot of man that respect him. And so they don't chat mad shit to him. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I see Saeed or Lee or whoever have an opinion, and Rance say, nah, man, I disagree with that opinion. And then be like, you know what? I agree with you, Rance, and change their opinion on a
Yeah, I
dime,
see that
blood.
all the time. I see that all the
But
time.
you see these influencers. So like, I feel like he does the football YouTube thing, and he's known in that. He's one of the goats in that. But these other influencers that come to box him, yeah, bro, they get under his skin, because they're not in the same world as him. So there's no respect. It's like Jake Paul chatting to AJ. Like, there's actually no respect. Like,
Yeah,
somebody who's actually a boxer would give AJ more respect than
then
this guy,
Jake
because this
Paul.
guy don't even understand the kind of danger that he's in.
Ignorance is bliss, bro.
Bro, the brother looks quite chubby, yeah. And he said to Rance, "Oh, one thing." And Rance like, "What?" And he's like, "Don't wear a vest on the weekend, yeah." And Rance like, "Bro," like trying to like take the piss out of the shape that he's in. And Rance like tensing his muscles on the face. He's like, "Blood, have you seen my body?" Like, bro. And I was like, "Yo, I'd never see Rance do stuff like that on the camera. Like, I'd never see, like, to get that side of Rance out. It's got to be someone who's not really in the same world as him. Do you see what I'm saying?"
Of course. I mean, I don't even know this you in it, so I'm not even gonna pretend like I do. But fam, just fist up this brother, fam. Just fist it, cause I can't lie, yeah. There's certain man that just chat shit on the internet, Like, just fist them up, bro. I can't even
What
lie. To be honest with you, sometimes I watch rants here. I don't know how much rants is getting paid, but bruv, I'll fist up man for the if
I was
anyone's
gonna
watch.
say, I was gonna say that. I was like, if the channel grows, we become more well known. Yeah. Every time I see the training, I'm like, should I do it? I don't know if I've had an
If
amateur
someone
license.
offered me paper, I'm doing it, bro. You
How
mad?
much would it? How much would it? How much would it take?
Bro, even if these men offered me a bag, I'll do it, bro. These
Really
men
for a
are,
bag?
bro.
I
These
ain't
men
fighting
are
for a bag.
shit, bro. These men are shit, bro.
No, but
I'll
for
be,
me, you're in shape. For me to lose weight, it costs more than a bag. Just for me to lose weight. For me to
bro.
do a
If
12-week camp, I'm not doing it for £1,000.
bro, I will do it for, bro. I'm not gonna lie, yeah.
I'd need at least
I
15,
might,
20 bags to do it.
I might even do it for 5 bills because, bro,
No, no.
these men are shit, fam.
But you're close to your fighting weight right now, no?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'd have
Facts.
to. I've got to do a camp to lose. But the boxing side, I could do. There's two things I worry about. One is like the fact that I just got to lose weight, but I can. The boxing side, I can do. Two, yeah. I, if man piss me off, I might punch him up before we get in the ring. I might not have the patience. Do you know what I'm saying? With certain people, I might
Now
not
I'm
have the
not.
patience.
I'm not. The thing is, yeah, with me fighting, especially like if we're sparring, yeah, I watch some of these man, bro, and I'm like, bruv, there is no way I would need 12 weeks to beat. Like, I presume Rance is gonna knock this dude out in the first 2 rounds, but fam, I watched the guy who Rance fought the other day, yeah, and I
Ziggy.
thought to myself, blood. I would be vexed if I was Rance, you know. Man trained 8 weeks to knock you out in 1 minute. Fam, that's a, yeah, I'm
It's
saying I've
stepping
got
stones, though,
sparring
innit?
partners harder than you, bruv.
It's stepping stones, though, innit? Do you know what I'm saying? And obviously, if Rance can make it to Misfits, there'll be some big paper and some big fights for
Yeah,
him.
of course, of course. Remember, yeah, the way Rance has been knocking these men out, yeah, Rance could fight 2 men in the same day, fam.
Yeah, 100%. a hundred
So I,
percent.
I presume this guy's gonna get knocked out. This guy just chatting shit. But this is one thing about white man. Yeah, you see when, you see when they're excited, bro. Them man go from one end of the extreme to the next, bro. Them man
Yeah,
go
yeah,
from
yeah.
being just straight neeks to being flipping Prince Nassim.
They call it like beer goggles when you see a dead gal, but you drink so much
Yeah,
alcohol, she thinks she's buff. Them man get like beer confidence in it. Do you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It's
facts.
just like no confidence to overconfident. Like, do you know what I'm saying? I can't have a man stand there disrespecting me when in real life, face to face, away from us wearing 16-ounce gloves, you would never chat to me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like before you had a social media following, you might cross the road if you saw me walking down the street, and now you're here. Do
Facts.
you know what I'm saying? I'm not on that. But yeah, bro. I definitely every time I say I get the itch, I'm like, you know what I mean? Let me drop some pounds, man, and get into it. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I will man up, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. If I'm fighting this like these level of opponents, like some of the man that we know in YouTube, like just some of the man that we've come across in YouTube that are into combat sports, for example, yeah, you know who I'm talking about, yeah.
Yeah.
Big man thing. If I don't retire them, it don't count as a win. They will never fight again. They will never fight again, bruv. Because I'll be so spiteful, bruv. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I won't knock man out, I'll brock man up, I will brock man up, bro. And you know what I'm like, bro. I've got no, do you know what I'm saying? I want blood spraying on your missus in the front row. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll be nasty, bro.
I
But
hear you still.
but yeah, shout out to Rance, man. We're gonna be live, bro. But every time I see it, I just get the itch, man. I'm like, do you know what I mean? And Rance be training with like Bilal Fawaz and like British champions, and like he's training and sparring with real like I say, Bilal was one of my OGs when I was in
He was
All Stars.
sparring with Vidal Riley the other day as well.
He's with Vidal Riley, he's with Bilal Fawaz, but like Bilal's a serious boxer. He's a serious boxer, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? I know it's
Yeah.
British level and Shane's like, I don't care about this, I only care
No,
about
but
world
I
champions.
obviously,
But
relatively speaking, innit?
bro, he's proper. He's proper stuff, bro. Do you know what I mean? I've been in the gym with him for years. He is proper. But yeah, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be a good fun. And it really that's the warm up for the big fight.
Yeah,
Well,
man.
one of the bigger fights. Big card.
Big
Yeah,
card.
big
I
card,
mean,
man. Talk to us.
Yanabek got took off the card, which is a fight I was looking forward to. Him versus Erislandy Lara. I was
Yeah,
looking forward to that fight, but obviously Yanabek got done for Peds.
yeah,
So yeah, Fulton versus Shaki Foster. That's another great fight. A really good fight. I genuinely don't know who's gonna win that fight. But Cruz versus Roach, another fight that I genuinely don't know who's gonna win, bro. I think
yeah,
when you look at Cruz and Roach, obviously recency bias will tell you Roach based on what he done against Tank, but styles make fights, and Cruz has got a completely different style to Tank.
Cruz has got a great style for an entertaining fight against someone like Roach, in my
Mhm.
opinion.
I
I mean,
agree.
I think that they'll bring the best out of each other. It's a great style matchup.
I think Roach got away with a lot because Tank doesn't have a high output, so he was able to pick punches and work when Tank weren't working, and just pretty much be wary for the one single shot that Tank was looking for. Whereas Cruz
Yeah,
is more of a volume puncher, so you're gonna have to use a completely different style. Not to mention the
yeah.
fact that Roach doesn't naturally have big punch power. So you're gonna pretty much spend a lot of this fight either on the back foot or just on the receiving end of combinations. So it's interesting to see. Obviously, Roach is probably the cleaner fighter, but when you get a black versus a Mexican, specifically stereotypical Mexican and a stereotypical black fighter, it always makes an interesting and intriguing fight. I think if you were to put a gun to my head today, who I think would win, I'd probably pick Roach because there's a blueprint to beat Cruz. There's a blueprint to beat Roach, but not a
But he's gonna
blueprint.
have to come through adversity to win this fight.
Maybe not, because Roach could just try and stink the place out, fam. Because Cruz can't box, bro. Like this dude can't box, bro.
I don't know if Cruz is someone that you can stink the place out against
Yeah,
because
who's that guy? Who's that guy?
he will just he'll do everything.
There
He'll
was
lose
a
points. He'll do
Who's that
everything.
guy who Anton Russell just beat this guy that beat Roach? What's this guy's name, bro? Obviously I know who I'm. This is so difficult because
You
in
mean beat
boxing,
Cruz?
huh?
You
He
mean
beat
beat
Cruz.
Cruz?
Yeah, the guy who beat Roach was Jamal Herring. But the person who beat Cruz, they just lost to Anton Russell. I'm struggling with his name, but I'm looking at his face right now. Looking at his face right now. I hate this because I don't know so many fighters. The names just escape me right now. To put me out of my misery. He literally just lost to Anton Russell the other day. Um,
Oh, Valenzuela.
yeah. But he's got his new. It's his nickname that I'm looking for. Oh man, what's his nickname?
I don't know.
Yeah, regardless, you guys,
Rio.
Ryo, thank you very much. Ryo, you put me out of my misery. Ryo,
I looked it up. I didn't know that off the top of my head. I looked it up, but yeah,
Ryo,
yeah.
Ryo fought um Cruz and he stunk the place out, bro. He not really stunk the place out, but he just pretty much boxed off the back foot and moved. And Roach, just all Roach really has to do. To be honest with you, though, that's not really Roach's style. Roach
Yeah.
isn't really a back foot fighter. He's more of like a
He likes to
front
hold his
foot
feet.
counter puncher.
He likes
Yeah.
to hold his feet. Yeah, for
Like be
sure.
on the front foot and trying to counter punch. I don't know if that style works against Cruz. Cruz has got
That's
that
why I
more.
said I think that Roach has to come through adversity. You don't have to, because you're looking at Roach and seeing a black man, so you think he's going to do a Shakur. But I think that Roach is going to hold his feet, and Roach will have confidence, having been in there with Tank, who is the big hitter of the division, and
But
not
it's a
been
different
dropped. And
style, isn't it? Like
it's
it's
a different
volume.
style, but I'm
It's
just talking
volume.
about that confidence you're going to have. Do you know what I'm saying? That he will feel like he can hold his feet, and Cruz will
That
feel like I can stand here and bang with you. So what we doing then?
boxing is styles make fights. So a lot of people jumped on this. Not you, definitely not you, but a lot of people jumped on this Cruz thing. Not Cruz. This Roach thing, where it's like, oh, because he beat Tank. All of a sudden, this guy's the next best thing. No, he's not the next best thing. It's just his style wasn't right for Tank because stylistically, Tank is looking for someone who overcommits and is aggressive, and
And
that's why he fights a
and
lot of Mexicans.
realistically, I'm no big fan of Tank, and I don't want to take away from what Roach did, but Tank did look off that night. Tank
Yeah,
had an off night, and Roach had a good night. I still think that Roach wins the rematch, but we know that a lot of Tank's deficiencies are mental. Tank to me is not that much different to Anthony Yard. He just has a belt. Do you know what I'm saying? But the mental deficiencies, to me, in terms of this is somebody who you can get into his head. Do you know what I mean you can rattle this guy? So
I think Roach.
Roach is good. Roach is very good, but yeah, it's not he's not the second coming of he's not the level of a Shakur and these kind of man,
Yeah,
and he's
exactly,
still a small
exactly.
guy. He's still a small guy, Roach.
Yeah. And he's gonna be smaller than Cruz. And as I said before, there's a blueprint to beat Roach as well, because obviously he lost to Jamal Herring, which I remember that fight. That fight was on the same day as Jake Paul, um, KSI versus Logan Paul. I remember that fight.
Mm.
But so there's a blueprint to beat Roach. Obviously, the blueprint ain't what Cruz does because Cruz is going to do the same thing: walk forward, head down, volume, and just try and land shots. And I do think if Roach is looking for singles and individual punches, holding your
Hmm.
feet and counter punching, he's gonna struggle. He's
Yeah,
gonna struggle. If he decides to move, use lateral movement at points, pick shots, and win rounds, take rounds off, then he can win the fight. He just got to be defensively responsible and pick and choose his points of when to box and when to fight. And he should
yeah.
win this fight. But because of how I do agree, I feel like mentally he's probably going into this fight believing the hype. Because bro, you gotta keep it real, bro. Beating Tank, regardless how you put it, will boost your stature and name within the black community. Do you know what I'm saying? And you start believing shit you didn't even believe before.
And people will just see Cruz as another small power puncher and Tank as a small
Yeah,
power puncher.
facts.
Stylistically, they're very different, but
Very.
that's just how people. That's just how people, think about fighters in them kind of terms. So we just have to see. I think that Roach wins, but I think he comes through adversity to win. I think the fight looks quite ugly, to be honest with you. But sometimes
There
ugly
is so
fights are entertaining fights.
I think we're looking at an ugly fight as well. If you were to put
Yeah.
a gun to my head, I see a lot of holding, I see a
Yep.
lot of wrestling. There may be a moment where um they one fighter might overwhelm another. I think maybe there's a chance that Cruz might land a few good combinations against Roach, where Roach is like just holding on because
Yeah.
Cruz is a dirty fighter. He'll do whatever it takes, but
I think that Roach might have to be a little bit crafty, maybe not dirty, but a little bit crafty in this fight. You know what I mean? When it's going to have to be some ugly inside boxing, it's going to have to be boxing off the clinch. He's going to have to be
yeah,
doing a lot of
facts,
stuff. He's
facts.
not going to be able to make it as clean as he wants it to be. And Roach is kind of in the middle of a. He's kind of he's good. Like this, is what I'm saying about he's good and he's not great. If you put Roach in there, a great boxer, he probably can't outbox him, and he can't outpunch a puncher, and he can't
Yeah.
outbox a boxer.
Facts,
But
facts.
he kind of can do a bit of this and a bit of that.
His benefit was that he's got a really good temperament. And
Yeah.
Tank fights guys who are very loose, like mentally they're quite hot headed. Ryan Garcia, Rolly Romero, these guys overcommit on punches. So then a counter puncher like Tank is gonna knock you out, bro.
They're both power
Let's
punches as
be
well. I
honest.
know that I know that Ryan Garcia is seen as like a speed merchant, but Ryan Garcia's got a
Yeah,
powerful
of
left hook.
course.
Rowley's got a power punch, and if you're going to try to, the old you can't hook of a hooker. Tank has got great punch mechanics and is normally the smaller guy, and he can just leverage his punches so fast.
Yeah,
Once he gets your
facts.
time in and he gets that counter going, Cruz is not that. Cruz does
That
not
that that
have the
that
IQ of that.
that's why I'm saying Roach benefited from the fact that he wasn't over committing on shots. He weren't leading with punches. He was waiting for Tank to lead, then counter. Don't worry, Cruz is gonna lead, but Cruz is not gonna lead with the one that Tank was leading. He's leading with four, five, six, seven, eight. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Last thing on the undercard as well. I think we'll try and go live from this fight. Fulton versus Foster. What are you saying? Could be the end of your boy Stephen Fulton.
This is the hardest fight to call, bro. The hardest since Fulton's moved to 130 pounds. 130 pounds, yeah. Since Fulton's moved to 130 pounds, he didn't look good in his first fight. He got dropped in that fight. I think we were
Yeah,
live
I've
for
been
that.
worried. I've been worried about Fulton. I've been
But then he
worried
but
about
then
Fulton.
he looked decent in the fight against Figueroa where he was wearing the Timberlands. Remember? He looked decent in that
Powered
fight.
up by the Timberlands, blood.
Yeah. In this fight, I hope he ain't wearing Timberlands because he can't fight that style against Foster. Naturally, Foster's a bigger man, the stronger man, so you would think that he's gonna be trying to impose that size and that role. Both of them we've seen like struggle in fights with certain styles, but I can't see Foster. Shaki can't fight like Inoue. He doesn't have the explosiveness. He doesn't have the punch mechanics.
Yeah,
Can Fulton fight like Conceição? Yes, when he was at 22, but not since he's been at 26. Since he's been at 26, now he's going even further to 30. So he used to move a bit at 22. He stopped moving at 26. He's moving to 30. So that's even more to tell me that he ain't moving. So I don't know, bro. If you were to put a gun to my head, I'd probably have to pick Fulton, Foster, sorry. But I would not be surprised if Fulton won, because Fulton's probably the better, purer boxer.
That's what
But
I'm going to say. Like exactly the opposite. But I know we're both on the opposite ends of a razor blade. But I'd slightly lean towards Fulton. But don't be surprised to see Foster win this fight.
yeah, like,
Don't be surprised.
I mean, obviously Fulton's got Ballsy, so there's that additional advantage of having Ballsy in the corner. But
The problem that I have with Fulton is that he just don't look strong. He's not a strong man, in my opinion. And he's a great boxer. And it's almost a kind of similar-ish thing with Roach. And my concern is that
yeah,
if you
no,
come across
that's a
if
decent
if you come
comparison.
across somebody bigger and stronger than you, I just don't know. I just don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if you allow this brother to tie you up, march you down into a corner, start getting to work. If you stand there and box with Fulton, you might lose. But if we take this away from a boxing match and turn this into a fight, I really don't know what you do.
It's at a higher weight class, so it's difficult to say, innit? Like, it's at 130. You're naturally 122. You fought two fights at 26. This is 30. So we're not talking about like them little man that you be fighting, bro. This is a big 130 as well. Oh, Shaki's big, bro. So
Yeah,
if you picked Fulton, I'm not. It's a 50-50 fight. Let me put it this
it's a
way.
50-50 fight for
It's a
sure.
50-50 fight. So if
But
you
yeah,
could
let's
put,
let's try go live for that fight, and
yeah.
then of course the main event as well. Man, and like I said, we are going to be live 4 times on Saturday. We're covering Opataya, we're covering Arsenal if you're a football fan, we're covering Rance's fight, we're covering Cruz. Then we're back for Arsenal. Then we're back for Arsenal versus Wolves. Then Jake Paul versus AJ in Miami. Then Everton versus Arsenal. Then we have Richards and Dan Aziz fighting on the same night that Andrew Tate is making his Misfits
Misfits
debut.
debut.
So we're going to be covering both those fights. Just before Christmas, Arsenal play the EFL Cup against Palace. Just after Christmas, Arsenal play against Brighton, and then Anouilh fights in Saudi that evening. Then Arsenal, Aston Villa, and then coming into January, we got a bunch of boxing. Do you say the Matthias Smith fight is off, or is that still on?
Well, we don't know because the WBC have sanctioned the fight, even though Matthias has failed the drugs test. So I don't know. They're
Well,
going through
Matthias
the.
Smith, we don't know what's going to happen. But on that same night, if Matthias Smith doesn't happen, don't worry, because Ajit Cabello's fighting in Germany. So we'll be there for that. Then Atoma's fighting Franklin in Manchester. And then we're going to all gather together, bring your flowers, tuxedo, black tie, black shirt if you've got one, John Wick on the January the 31st for the funeral of Josh Kelly when he fights Metazalia. So, do you know what I'm saying?
I think that's the same day as flipping Shakur Stevenson
And that's the same night as Shakur Stevenson. So that we're going to
and
double up
Teofimo
again.
Lopez.
We're gonna watch Josh Kelly. I'll have to get out the sofa bed for Shane to come and have a nap, but we'll watch Josh Kelly, go to sleep and take a long nap, and then we'll have a little break, and then we'll be back. So all through Christmas we got you covered. All through January we got you covered.
And February, we got some big fights in February.
Yeah,
I think the Andy Cruz, is that in February or
I think Andy Cruz. No,
might?
I think that should be in this list. I'll double check.
Okay,
But
so if
Andy
Andy
Cruz is going to be fighting. We're obviously waiting for a date for we've got Teofimo Lopez and no, we
and
just
you've
said
got
that one,
Ryan
didn't we?
Garcia Barrios, I think that's in February.
Ryan Garcia Barrios is coming. We know that Zerdo versus Benavidez is going to be coming at some point in the beginning of next year.
What fight?
So
There's another good fight that oh no, Navarrete versus Sugar Nunes. When's that? That might be February.
let me have a look. Let me have a look. But yeah, basically, we're covering you for all the boxing. Do you know what I'm saying? So anybody, any time zone, we don't care, bro. We're here. Do you know what I'm saying? We're here, bro.
Facts.
We really do this. Let me just have a quick look. Going into February,
Navarrete
Garcia Barrios, 21st of Feb. And I tell you what's on the same night as that in Nottingham in England, Wood versus Warrington, which I
Oh
am
yeah,
going to
that's
cover.
it. Wood versus Warrington.
Wood
That's what.
versus Warrington with my boy Bilal Fawaz fighting on the undercard as well against Davis. That's going to be a
We're
great
gonna be
fight. And you're
live for
right.
that.
You're right. Sugar Nunes is versus Navarrete on the 28th of February.
Yeah,
Yes.
I thought so. I thought that was in February as well. So yeah, bro, you got it covered, bro.
Yeah, 100%. William Skulls fighting Bank. I am not covering
Yeah,
that
yeah,
fight
he's
at
mad. He's
all.
dumb.
Definitely not. Unless William Skull was personally paying me. And Muratala is fighting Cruz on the 24th of Jan, so that should be on
Oh yeah,
the list as well.
Murataya
Yeah,
versus Andy Cruz. Yeah, that's for the IBF belt.
that's
Yeah.
the same night as Itoma versus Franklin, so we'll double up on that as well. So, do you know what I'm saying? So we got, listen, the point is we got bare content coming. It's not going to stop anytime soon. Support the movement. Do you know what I'm saying? We'll see you, man, Saturday. Peace and love every time. Peace.